Hey guys, welcome back. In today's video I'm going to show you how I put together my metal axles from a KM, or if you're upgrading a D12, and here's a couple of tips and tricks on how to make these run nice and smooth. This is probably my 5th or 6th KM build, and yeah, I've built a couple of these axles. So here's some tips and tricks and pretty much the order on how I build these. So the first thing I do is I build the drive shaft, and you'll see why further down the line. But yeah, I also, if you can see sticking out there, I source my own grub screws for the drive shafts. These are M3 by 4mm. They're available on eBay, it's where I go on mine. And as you can see, they stick out a bit, and if push comes to shove and they do get stuck, you've got a bit more depth on the hex for grip. And yeah, you could also use pliers or whatnot. Yeah, but I just prefer using the bigger grubs on the drive shafts. You obviously can't use them on the gears as they would interfere, but yeah, highly recommend picking up some nice big grubs for your drive shafts. As I was saying, make the drive shaft first, so easy enough to do, guys. You get the cup and the shaft, and then from the small parts you get a cylinder, a pin, and a spring. So spring and pin. Take your shaft, put your cylinder in. Now this likes to fall out if you tilt it either side, so quickly get the top piece here and put that there. That'll stop the cylinder falling out. And you take your pin, even a guy with big fingers like me can do this. Put it through the first hole. As you can see, that pin is nice and flush now, both ends, guys. So yeah, a little tip there. Put the cup straight over when you get the cylinder on, save that falling out. Obviously it is a bit of a nightmare falling everywhere, and yeah, if the pin doesn't obviously come through the other side, try pulling it out and attacking from the other side. But yeah, the pin is in, and all you do then is simply slip the spring over the top like so. Same process for all aspects of the drive shaft. Here's one I made earlier. But yeah, on to the next stage, and I'll show you the reason why we started with the drive shafts. The next stage, I'm going to do the pinion. So that is this gear here, and then we've got the back casing. That also requires then 2 small bearings. If you're building a 4x4 kit or a KM, you will have large bearings as well for the front axle, but the pinion on front and back uses 2 small bearings. And what we're going to do first, I'm going to quickly grease those up before putting them in. Yeah, got my grease, got my toothbrush, got a bit of rag up there now to obviously put that down, stop it getting everywhere, and wipe my hands. But basically all I do is I'll splodge my bearings in like that, get them nice and covered in grease, and then that way you'll know they'll be nice and protected then from the weather and rust. And don't be lazy, guys, because further down the line, yeah, stop you seizing up and rusting. And so yeah, get those 2 greased. Then the next stage is you take your back cover, pop a bearing in the front, and what I like to use as well, sometimes they don't line up, it's got a pen lid, a bit of gasket on there, but a pen lid, and you can use that to push these little bearings into place. And then we pop one in the back of the back cover. Now sometimes these don't like to line up, but yeah, give them a push and they will go in. So we've got a bearing there in the back, bearing there in the front, nicely greased as well. I'm going to slip my gear through and wipe off any excess grease. Now the reason for doing the drive shaft first is because we've done the pinion second. So what I like to do to get a nice pinion, you don't want your pinion moving forwards and backwards. So I like to push it in with my thumb as tight as I can, and then obviously we've got a drive shaft made. Simply put that over there, obviously keeping the pressure on the pinion, keeping it pushed out as much, and then tighten. Don't tighten too tight yet. And there we have stages 1 and 2, pinion and drive shaft. On to the third stage, which is the main axle. So what I like to do is use the painted side. So you've got an unpainted side and a painted side. I like to use the painted side as a shim, so to speak. It's yeah, it pushes it out a bit further, and I've had really good experience doing it this way. I've had no grinding gears. You take your axle, and then what we want to do first is just put it in loose. See, I've got it the wrong way around there. So this end's short, so yeah, we're going to turn that round. Make sure we just get it all lined up nicely first. Obviously we've got our hexes, they go on the outside, and we'll get our main ring differential gear. So the attack of this gear, if you look at the casing, you've got a flat side. Yeah, that's pretty much going to line up with that. So I'm going to put that on first. No grubs or anything yet, we're just getting it all ready. And then we have 2 bearings on each side of the ring differential gear. So 4 bearings in total. So there we go, we're looking something like that now. We've got the ring differential gears on and 2 bearings either side. I've done the grub up just tight enough so it stays within the flat spot. And yeah, that's going to be so it'll adjust itself later. We're going to use the pinion that we've already made to, yeah, pretty much self-adjust this ring differential gear, guys. Next, we're going to lightly grub the hexes as well on. Same principle as before, so this can obviously pull off, but it's done up tight enough so it's catching on the flat spot and not pushing down any further. We're leaving these all loose for now. So we've got both output hexes lightly grubbed on, as you can see, and obviously the ring differential. We're going to pop these off for now, and we're going to line up the bearings and the ring differential positioned in the axle housing. And as you can see, 2 bearings close and 2 bearings out on the ends there. Now the reason that we made the drive shaft and the pinion gear first is so I could use it to self-align. So I'm going to use the 2 holes there, and I'm going to use the pinion to adjust the ring differential. So that's now going to perfectly line up. You're not going to have it too far over this way or too far. Yeah, it's going to be perfectly in line. The foolproof way of self-adjusting your gears. So what you could also do as well, now you've got the pinion made, is get the top on like so. Put that back on as well on the back, so you just got a bit more support, you know, nothing's going to fall out. You're going to want to get the grub screw facing you, and then what we're going to do is Loctite this, and we're going to talk a bit more about how to use Loctite properly. There we go, guys. Loctite comes in a little blue bottle. It's now got a label on it, and this is used to stop the small grub screws or any metal on metal from vibrating. It's pretty much a thread locker. A little goes a very long way. I've got a little spare bag here. I'm going to put a little drop onto the bag like so, and that's probably a lot more than I need. It's about half a pea's worth. I've taken the grub screw from the ring differential gear, and I'm literally going to dab a little tiny bit onto the end of the grub screw. I'm not going to cover the whole grub screw, and then I'm literally going to do it up until it stops. I'm not going to apply any pressure. I'm not going to swing on it. I'm just literally going to screw it up, and there we go, it stopped, and I'm literally, that is it. I'm not going to, you know, apply any torque. And then I use a little bit of kitchen towel to get rid of the excess from the top threads. And there you have it. Yeah, leave that 5 minutes. That'll settle, and pretty much jobs are good. And like I said, guys, Loctite, a little goes a long way. Don't go literally drooling it all over your nuts and bolts. You will struggle getting it off. And if push does come to shove, you can use your soldering iron to heat up the grub, and that will then break down the thread lock. So that's looking good, guys, so far. My focus is terrible, sorry. We used the drive shaft and the pinion to adjust and level the main ring differential gear. So all that's left to do now is to use the same Loctite method that we just talked about. A little goes a long way. Tighten them up until it stops. Don't apply any torque. And we're going to put the output hexes now onto either side. If you do put a little bit too much Loctite on, yeah, just give it a little wipe in some kitchen towel and reapply. We are nearly home free, guys. All that's left to do is grease up the gears, add some gaskets, and assemble it all. All I like to do is get the bearings in the middle of the shaft, like that. Give them all a little wipe with some grease. Put them back in their position. Drop it back in. Next, we're going to apply some paper gaskets. Yeah, these metal gears and KM setups used to grind a bit and took some bedding in before they become nice and smooth. With the addition of these, that kind of eliminates that now. And I'm going to apply 2 to the pinion. Change of plan. Before putting the gaskets on, I'm actually going to grease this pinion gear up. Easy to do. Just get a toothbrush in there, and yeah, give it a good coating of grease. Doesn't have to be full, just make sure all the splines of the gears have a little smooth layer of grease, and that'll be more than enough. And now we're going to apply our gaskets. These will hold quite nicely now, the layer of grease there. So we've got our ring differential gear, really easy. Just like I said, take your tough brush, give it a nice coating all the way around. I'm using the painted side as a shim, like I did say, guys, at the start. And we'll put that there. We're going to take the front cover, and as this is the rear axle, we're going to put that nice WPL diff cover there. That's all that's left to do, is put 4 screws through, and your axle is complete. That's one complete smooth spinning axle, guys. So yeah, I hope the tips on building the drive shafts and using the pinion to level the gear help you guys. And yeah, as always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.